Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Lovely to have you along for the ride. Take two. Lovely to have you along for the ride. Philadelphia Phillies got a walk-off win yesterday. Nick Castellanos' third walk-off hit of the season for the Phils. So as I have been saying, and I feel like I've been in the minority here, Nick Castellanos needs a 10-year contract extension, baby. In all seriousness, still hate his approach at the plate. However, I have rooted for the guy. I've rooted for the guy. I've said I like him. I like the fact that he's put in the extra work, and the fact that he came up in a clutch situation last night, got his sixth hit in 2 games, including his fourth of the night last night, and like I said, his third walk-off hit of the season. And there are times where he can help the ball club. Obviously, the trick for me here is that he doesn't bat, 202 for like every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks, for 3 weeks, he'll hit like 200. And then they're like, I got a 350 hitter. And then, back to 202. Like that type of inconsistency is rather frustrating. Okay. But last night, he was extremely aggressive. Last night, it very much paid off. And that ninth inning rally getting capped off by Nick Castellanos after going 0 for 17, 0 for the series against the Baltimore Orioles, the biggest series of the season. That's frustrating. But if he's going to help this team win in any sort of consistent basis, then that's great. And here's my little theory on it, okay? April, I know you're in the chat already. I know you hit me up on the postcast last night. Liam Castellanos should be out of school by now. It's April, I think your words were it's the middle of June, so he should be out of school. I agree. But let's just say this. What if Liam being out of school completely and being able to go to the games now is what turns the season around for Nick Castellanos? Huh? What if that's the ticket? Liam was on the field last night when they doused his daddy with the Gatorade jug right after the game. So that was great. I will say after last night's game, or during last night's game, Phillies were god-awful with runners on base. They had left 12 on base. They were bad with runners in scoring position. They were just 1 for 8. Going into the 8th inning prior to Kyle Schwarber's home run, it just felt like a lifeless game. But one of the benefits of having a team like the Philadelphia Phillies, one of the benefits of having a lineup like the Philadelphia Phillies is that at any moment you really could see that crooked number go up there. And if it's a 2-run ball game going into the bottom of the 9th inning, the Phillies are very much interested. If it's a 2-run ball game in the late innings, 8th inning, 9th inning, you feel like the Phillies could just break out of it at any moment. And sure enough, in the 8th inning, Kyle Schwarber, and this is where the rally really started for me. Kyle Schwarber goes into the game. Comes up to the plate against, who was pitching at the time for the Padres? Anyway, it doesn't matter because he hits the home run. So after he hits the home run, his 6th of the month of June and his 17th on the season, after he hits that home run, the Padres have to go to their bullpen to go to their closer. So that's a better way to say it. They have to go to their closer, Robert Suarez, who is one of the best in the game. He's only allowed 2 runs all season. Now, why is that significant? Because now he's got to do the dreaded up-down. Now he's got to go out of the game, and he's got to sit on the bench after the final out of the 8th inning. So Schwarber hits the home run. They bring in Suarez. Suarez gets 1 out, sits on the bench, and then he's got to get up after being down. So there's the up-down, and then go back into the game. He comes back into the game. Bang, bang, boom. Phillies win. Bryce Harper starts it off, seeing the second pitch of his at-bat, putting it in the right field for a single. Alec Boehm steps up. He ropes one in the left field. He gets a single. And on this single, in the left center field, Bryce Harper busts it around the bases to get to third base. The Hustle Harper play, where he gets one more base than the average man, than the mere mortal. Bryce Harper turns on the Jets, goes from first to third on that. And now you have first and third with nobody out. Bryson Stott, who has been struggling mightily, he inside outs 99-mile-per-hour fastball on the inside corner of the plate. Inside outs into left field. Bryce Harper scores. You got a tie ball game at 3. Then Nick Castellanos steps up. The first pitch he sees, he inside outs one. Puts it down the right field line. It bounces, goes into the stands for the walk-off ground rule double. His 4th hit of the game, 6th of the series. That is pretty spectacular. You feel like the Phillies are just never out of a game. With this lineup, you feel like they're never out of a game. And sure enough, after Aaron, it was a really weird game. Like, if you're like watching the game, you felt like the offense should have had more runs. Now, watching Aaron Nola, it felt like he certainly should have been in line for the win. But it wasn't the way it was. You read off the stats for the game, like 10 hits or whatever going into the 9th inning. You feel like, 10 hits, you should have more than 2 runs. Aaron Nola going out there and being perfect for essentially 4 innings. You feel like, this should be another win for Aaron Nola, but it didn't add up that way. He goes 6 innings, Aaron Nola does, 4 hits, 3 runs in last night's ballgame, 6 strikeouts, and they got to him in the 6th inning. And the 6th inning was terrible. He had 67 pitches going into that 6th inning, and then he leaves the game with 94 pitches. Like, seeing Aaron Nola in the 6th inning with 67 pitches makes me go, this guy's going to go into the 8th inning, 9th inning tonight. And that wasn't the case. Campusano got the home run, the 2-run home run. It looked like Christian Pache could have caught that ball. Obviously, he didn't. He got a little banged up on the play, stayed in the game. But that was odd. And then they gave up the RBI single after Wade was able to tag from first on a deep fly ball to left field. I mean, they essentially just got to Aaron Nola. I don't know if he ran out of gas. I don't know what the issue was. But I don't know what happened in that 6th inning. But they just got to him. They take the lead. The Phillies were up 1-0 on a measly RBI single by Brandon Marsh that brought home Nick Castellanos after a double. And that made it a 1-0 game. And then the Padres jumped out to the 3-1 lead in that 6th inning with the 2-run home run by Campusano and then the RBI single. That was rough, especially because Campusano is their 8-hole hitter. Not ideal. Also his 5th home run of the season. Not expected. Didn't see that coming. Then the bullpen comes in, and you have Kerkering, you have Strahm, and you have Hoffman just close the door of offense. Perfect. No walks, no hits. They go through those 3 innings, 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, boom. They go right through it. And then you have Kyle Schwarber changing the outlook of the game, making it a 1-run ball game with that 6th home run of the month. And then the Phillies took care of business. It was like the way the Phillies went about it. I think it was like a 6-pitch 9th inning. The way the Phillies went about that inning was like, all right, enough of the BS. Let's win this game. Like, really, that's what it was like. Seeing them have that kind of efficiency in that 9th inning, staging that comeback the way they did, it was wonderful. We'll hear from Rob Thompson on that. We'll hear from Bryce Harper on the really sad news. It really is sad. Willie Mays passing away. Because Willie Mays is just one of those constants in baseball that he was very similar to like Bill Russell in basketball, who is obviously passed as well. But it's just one of those people that you just don't always see around. If there's a big hallmark moment in Major League Baseball, like Willie Mays was there. Just one of those players that if you never saw him play, he just became one of those like grandfathers of the game to you. And that's kind of what he was to me. I have a personal story, not necessarily about Willie Mays, but when I think of Willie Mays, it makes me think of Harry Kalas. And if you heard the story last night on a postcast, my apologies, but it's worth telling again. When I was just starting out in the business, just like fresh out of college, I was working on this TV show, and Harry Kalas was a guest. And I remember I was kind of like a production assistant, whatever. And the producer sees Harry Kalas walk in, and I see Harry Kalas walk in. And there's a bar at this show because we did the show at a bar. And the producer goes, "Hey, go make sure Harry's okay." Okay. I never met Harry Kalas. I am actually 22 years old. And he sits down at the bar, and I go up next to him, and I go, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Kalas." Only 2 people I've ever been starstruck around: Harry Kalas and Special Agent Joe Pistone, the actual real life Donnie Brasco, when I met him. And I'm sitting there at the bar with Harry Callis, and he was drinking an O'Doul's, and I was on the job, so I had a Red Bull, and I'm sitting there with Harry Callis, and I guess, I didn't want to be like, I don't want to pester him about baseball and be like, he's not on the clock type of thing, So I didn't want to bother him with that, and I was just like, stupid chit chat, like, what does Harry Callis do when he's not calling games? Blah blah blah. You idiot, me idiot, and I guess Harry just kind of sensed my nervousness, and out of nowhere, there was nothing that prompted this. He just takes a sip of his O'Doul's, puts it down, and goes, I'd have to say Willie Mays is the greatest ball player I'd ever seen. And I'm like, oh, Harry Callis talking about baseball with me. And I'm like, yes, go on, Harry Callis. The way he could run, hit, blah, blah. And it just goes, oh my, it was poetry. It was like a documentary about Willie Mays was being voiced over right in front of me through the voice of Harry Callis. And from that moment on, whenever I would see Willie Mays at anything in baseball or being referenced in anything, if I was watching HBO for the love of the game, and or when it was a game, excuse me, and Willie Mays was on the screen, I was amazed. When the year round, every World Series, it feels like you see the 54 World Series catch with him over the shoulder at the Polo Grounds, if I'm not mistaken, making that catch, like just stuff like that. You see Willie Mays, and every time I would right away. One of the greatest ball players ever, maybe the greatest baseball player ever, and then I think of Harry Callis because of that experience that I had. And I would see Willie Mays, and in my head, I would just go, one of the greatest ball player I'd ever see, and I get Harry Callis's voice in my mind. But man, what a career! What a career! When the unfortunate thing happens of a player passing away, there's always at least one thing that comes up that I'm like, oh my God, I never knew that, that kind of thing. I didn't know he was on deck for Bobby Thompson's home run in the shot heard around the world. I didn't know he was on deck for that. He watched the home run, what has become a controversial home run. Well, it's always been, but he was on deck. I didn't know that. That's pretty wild. Little things in history. Made his debut, I believe, at Shibe Park. Little tie-ins to Philadelphia. Absolutely amazing. I also didn't know that when he was playing in the Negro Leagues, he would have to go to school and then go to the game. Like, he would have to get his education and then go to the game. Like, I didn't know that. That was pretty amazing. As far as just if you haven't done it already, I think 660 is a number that sticks out of my head with Willie Mays. I wonder what that number could have been had he not had military service. Could he gotten to 700 home runs? Possibly. I think he could find. I think a guy like him, I think he could find 40 home runs early in his career between a season and a half. So yeah, I think he would have got to 700 home runs. Two-time NL MVP at 54 and 65. How about that? 11 years apart. 24-time All-Star, time for the second most. Baseball Hall of Fame, 1979. Won the 54 World Series with the Giants. Did I mention 12-time Gold Glover? That's pretty good. Barry Bonds' godfather. I know a lot of people know that too. Yeah. But just one of those guys that you just always saw around the games. Bryce Harper was asked about Willie Mays. We'll let you hear from Bryce Harper talking about Willie Mays. Also, there was a report yesterday from Howard Eskin on WIP about this whole Jalen Hurts 95% of the offense is different. The report had two things that were rather alarming. One is the idea of, and this is what Howard was saying, Jalen Hurts looking for an excuse. So it's never good. And I'm not saying this is fact. I'm saying this is the report. Now, Howard Eskin is the sideline reporter for the Philadelphia Eagles. So he's around the NovaCare complex a lot. And he was talking to multiple sources and all that stuff. And the offense, according to these sources, is not 95% different. It's 20% different. Okay, it's a weird thing to track, but okay. I would be curious to see how much the offense changed when Brian Johnson took over. I'd be curious to see how much the offense changed when Shane Steichen took over play calling responsibilities. But 20% is how it's changed with Kellen Moore, a brand new offensive coordinator who is established in the league as an offensive coordinator. And if the offense is his, like Nick Sirianni isn't game planning. Kellen Moore is in charge of the offense. So 20% honestly does sound, 95% sounds really high. 20% sounds low to me. But the reason behind it is so Jalen Hurts can have an excuse. Jalen Hurts say, well, this is 95% different. Is him getting ready for the end of the year, explaining why it's been an underwhelming season. Well, yeah, I told you the offense was completely new, so next year we'll get them. No. I have already stated many times, this is a no excuse season for Jalen Hurts. All right? If you can't win, if you can't have a top offense at least with this team, with the talent around you and the play caller you have on the sideline, if you can't win with that, the problem ain't Kellen Moore. It's not Howie Roseman not giving you good players, surrounding you with good players. It's not, oh, well, we just weren't able to get on the same page, me and Cam Jurgens, you know what I mean? Like, the problem's you. If you can't win with what's around you, the problem ain't what's around you. The problem's you. And I'm saying that as a Jalen Hurts supporter. I love Jalen Hurts. But if that's true, that the only reason he said 95% was to build an excuse for later, that's terrible. And that's very, to me, un-Jalen Hurts-like. So that's the first thing that jumps out to me about the report. The second thing that jumps out to me about the report is they're going to Carson Wentz him. If this is an excuse and Jalen Hurts doesn't have success, they're going to Carson Wentz him? I look back on it, and I think Carson Wentz Wentzed himself. I think he Wentzed the bed. No? Okay. Sorry, I'll show myself out. I'm still wearing out from Father's Day. That's what jumps out to me about that they're going to Carson. So hold on a second. Hold on a second. So Jalen Hurts is preparing an excuse for the end of the year when the season is underwhelmed. Okay, great. And then the Eagles, in retaliation, the bullet they have in the chamber is a Carson Wentzing bullet. Oh, yeah? You think you're going to turn things around on us and say we've changed too much and you're going to blame the organization for not holding on to your dear family friend, Brian Johnson? Speaking of underwhelming. Oh, man. Oh, baby. You're going to look at that and you're going to go, oh, I'll show them. And then the Eagles in return are going to be like, oh, we're going to Carson Wentz you. Okay. This doesn't sound like it's going to go well. This sounds pretty terrible. If one is putting a excuse bullet in the chamber, and the other is putting we're going to trade your ass bullet in the chamber. This generally speaking does not end well. Like, there's already animosity now. If you go down this rabbit hole, and believe me, I did yesterday. If you go down this rabbit hole, this means, okay, there's animosity. And it also means what? That Jalen Hurts wanted the Eagles to fire Sirianni and promote Brian Johnson to head coach? Or did Jalen Hurts want Sirianni fired? Maybe Kellen Moore comes in the head coach and Brian Johnson keeps his job as offensive coordinator? Well, if you go down this rabbit hole and you live in this universe for a minute, what was going to happen last year? Did Jalen Hurts say get rid of Sirianni? Did Jalen Hurts say I don't know what Sirianni brings to the table? Because when he gave the answer 2 weeks ago about what Sirianni, what does it say about Nick for his versatility, essentially, and his ability to adapt? And he couldn't think of a nice thing to say? Kind of makes a little sense to say that there might be some animosity. Might not be the idea of, like I was talking about 2 weeks ago, where Jalen Hurts was in the mindset of he didn't want to tell a lie. Like, this is all Kellen Moore's offense. I don't even know what Nick does. So I don't even know what to say to that. And if I have nothing nice to say, I'm not going to say it at all. And then finally, when the follow-up question was asked, and he goes, and Martin Frank goes, well, no, seriously, say something nice about Nick. And Jalen Hurts' response to it was, he's got a good message. Like his message is good. His message is good. It's good message. We got problems. The talent is there for this football team. What derails it, if it is derailed, is dysfunction and a lack of chemistry. Is Jalen Hurts sitting on a throne of animosity because of Brian Johnson? That's the question. Because it really is an easy question to answer. We talked about John McMullen and I and Xander on Birds 365. It's a softball question. And I don't say that. Usually that's belittling. Softball question is if you have a one-on-one interview and you're just trying to make someone who everyone else knows is guilty as sin, and you ask them just like, there's some softball question about just like, hey, what about the charity work you do? Something like that. This is a media session. This is a press conference. So sometimes you tee him up. It's along the same lines as when I hear a reporter go, talk a little bit about that, play you made. Like, what? No, ask a question. Don't give me a command. That to me is softball too. But this is a necessary question. Like, hey, say something nice about. Now, that would have been totally softball. Say something nice about Nick. He's got great hair. He kind of looks like Mark. No, all right. That's sometimes it's okay. And that's what that question was. It's an attempt to really see what's going on under the hood of the Philadelphia Eagles and get an idea of what Jalen Hurts. Like, I know reporters that have literally said, sometimes I ask a dumbass question just because it gets such an interesting answer. Because, and some people might not believe this, not all reporters want to be the story. They just want to report the story. And it's not necessarily the question that's asked, it's the answer that's given. And the question that Martin Frank asked was totally legitimate. Give us a peek under the hood. What does it say about Nick Sirianni for all the changes that's going on? It's a better way to ask. So what is it that Nick does here, really? Jalen Hurts' response kind of let us know, not much, nothing. Obviously it's very troublesome to hear that answer. We've gone over it many times, but then to hear the report of Jalen Hurts is making an excuse. Jalen Hurts is, and the Eagles in retaliation could Carson Wentz Jalen Hurts. Cool. The only thing that could throw this season off is dysfunction. And it does seem extremely out of character for Jalen Hurts to be blaming anybody but himself for anything. When Nick Sirianni was asked the question about Jalen Hurts saying 95% of the offense was different, Nick Sirianni went down this very specific to the quarterback position rabbit hole. Like, well, yeah, but I mean, we could have the same play, but now there's 4 different variations of that play. And in those 4 different variations, the progressions are different than what he was coached to do before. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, he might go 4, 3, 2, 1, or 1, 4, 2, 3, I was like, so he's a quarterback. Like, what are you telling me? Plus, if you watch the Dallas Cowboys with Kellen Moore, and then you watched any of, even if it was, Easton Stick, what the hell's the guy's name in San Diego? And Justin Herbert. If you watched any of that, did you look at any of that and go, oh, this looks like Nick Sirianni's offense. This looks so similar. They're like very much the same. No, I don't think you did that. I think you went, oh, this is different. Why don't the Eagles do stuff like this? So yeah, I can't have a season, and I'm gonna, this is what's in my head, and there's no other way to say it, but like the dream team year was, wow, look at all this talent. This is great. What could derail it? Dysfunction. Not of this degree, but just guys not being able to get on the same page. Nnamdi Asomugha getting beat in practice. And everyone going, oh, that sucked. This is the guy that's going to come in and help us win? Huh. Interesting. This sounds like dysfunction and drama. That was dysfunction in 2011. This is drama. And if both sides are gearing up for a who takes credit war, do you know how that ended last time? That ended with Doug Peterson being in Jacksonville and Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie winning that battle. I was really looking forward to a real fun football season. And now, you know what we're going to get into? We're going to get into who blames who. It's not fun. It's not what I'm looking for. It's not what I want. But yet, here we are. They're going to Carson Wentz him. Alarming. I think 20% is way too low. Like, it's only 20% of the offense is different. Really? That sounds extremely low when you're bringing in an offensive coordinator who's literally running the offense. And to everyone, Nick has even said, this is no secret. This is not breaking news. This is not controversial. Nick has even said, this is Kellen Moore's offense. Kellen has to make the decision. So one of the other things that was said by Howard Eskin in the interview was on WIP was he's a good coach. Nick Sirianni is a good coach. The evidence would suggest not. Being that he has had a diminishing role with the team in the time that he's been here. Sure, the team ends up in the playoffs, which is great. Sure, the team has been to the Super Bowl, which is great. Sure, the Eagles should have won the Super Bowl. But if you're a good coach, how do they tell you to do less? If he's so good, how has his role gotten smaller? The answer to that is he's not a good coach. And the thing that he's supposed to be, have his bread and butter with here is, the ability to motivate. If you have the ability to motivate, how the hell does the end of last year happen? Because at no point in that season did the Eagles look focused at the end of the year. If you're a good coach, how the hell and why the hell is Jalen Hurts taking those shots down the field in Seattle? That's the game that really sticks out to me, the Seattle Seahawks game. That's the game. I mean, yeah, the Gannon game where you lost to Jonathan Gannon's Cardinals, that sucked. Don't get me wrong, at home. But the game that I think any Pee-wee Pop Warner coach could do a better job in the fourth quarter closing out that game was the Seattle game, above all else. So, no, I don't think Nick Sirianni is a good coach. I don't know what it is that he does well. But here's what I know he has to do well, bounce back from last year. Otherwise, he gone. That good coach is going to be gone. So, love to hear your takeaways on that story. I think he was on with Hugh and Joe, Howard Eskin. So, yeah. Not great. None of that was great, unfortunately. But hey, the Phillies did win a baseball game yesterday. Rob Thompson was addressing the media after the game. He talked about Nick Castellanos, and he talked about this team's really never say die mentality. Because when you look at the game yesterday in particular, one of the things that was wild to me was you went into the second inning, Stott, who has been struggling, struck out on that changeup, and then Castellanos and Marsh got back-to-back singles. So you have runners on first and second with one out. Pache then grounds into the fielder's choice where they got Castellanos trying to score from third on the ground ball, hit the third. So don't get anything out of that. Then Stubbs goes up there, and he strikes out trying to check his swing. And it was 40 pitches already at that point for King, who was the starting pitcher yesterday for the Padres. Then the Phillies had another opportunity in the fourth inning to really do some damage. They ended up getting one run after Castellanos got the one-out double. Marsh brought him home in the RBI single. Pache worked a walk. Stubbs strikes out. Schwarber gets hit by a pitch. You have bases loaded, 2 outs. Trey Turner grounds into the 5-4 fielder's choice to end that inning. So they get one run out of that. Fast forward now to the 6th inning. This was a little insane. The Padres started putting up runs. That's the Campusano home run. That's the Profar RBI single. It's a 3-1 ball game now in favor of the Padres. Phillies had an opportunity here in the 6th inning to get something going. Pache led off with a walk. Stubbs comes up to the plate in the 6th inning. I know some people might have taken – I know some people just don't want Stubbs to play at all, okay? So let's just live in this world. Do you pinch hit for Stubbs at that point with Rafael Marchand or even Edmundo Sosa? Probably Marchand, being that there was so much time left. I don't think that you were so many innings left. I don't think that you pinch hit. That's not where my head's at. My head's at, if you have a leadoff runner on like Pache, you're not stealing and you're not laying down a bunt with Stubbs. Stubbs can bunt for a hit. So a sacrifice bunt, fine, but you could also have runners on first and second with nobody out. You could, at worst, I think, have a runner on second base with the top of your order coming up. They don't lay down the bunt with Garrett Stubbs. They have him swing away. He strikes out. Cool. And this is where it comes back to bite you in the butt. They take Matsui out at that point, and they bring in Morahan. Morahan comes in, and Schwarber gets the single. So if you had a runner on second base like Pache at that point, like let's say my scenario played out and Stubbs lays down the bunt, which I'm still shocked. Either Stubbs didn't think of it on his own or Rob Thompson didn't put it on. Schwarber gets that single. You're scoring Pache from second base. And it's a 3-2 ball game. They opted not to do that. Instead, Schwarber goes up there and gets the single. It almost hit Pache, actually, as they're trying to advance to second. It's first and second with one out. Turner lines out to right field. Pache is able to go to third on that, tagging up. Deep right field, by the way. And then Harper steps up and flies out to left. So the Phillies get nothing out of it after a leadoff walk, an opportunity to advance the runner. First and second with one out. First and third with one out. Or first and third with 2 outs. You get nothing out of first and second with 1 out. You get nothing out of it. Phillies then got the home run from Schwarber late in the game there in the 9th inning, 398 feet down the right field line, made it a 3-2 game. And then the scenario that I already explained there in the 9th inning with Phillies just handling the business against Suarez. Here is Rob Thompson after the game talking about getting to Robert Suarez, a guy that only allowed 2 runs all season.
Yeah, it was a good night offensively, really. Even though we only scored 4 runs, we put 85 pitches on King in the first 4 innings, and he was really good. Changeup was really good. But yeah, these guys never quit. They just keep going.
It could have been a frustrating night with you left 12 guys on base.
Yeah.
Instead, it turns into an exhilarating win. What's the kind of the emotions of going from that frustration to such a big win?
Yeah, it's changes quickly, and you saw that tonight. But they kept staying after it, And Nick with 4 hits tonight, and another walk-off hit for him. I'm really happy for him, really am.
Does it seem like he kind of has a knack for those moments? He's had a couple walk-off hits this season.
Yeah, I think he does. I don't know. Nick can be very streaky, as we know, but he's had pretty good at bats here the last couple of days, and hopefully he keeps it going.
Yeah, thank you for acknowledging that Nick can be rather streaky. I don't think there's any denying that. However, Rob Thompson with us first. I love that he said, this team doesn't stop fighting. You always want that. Another Harry Callis reference, the fighting Phils, right? Secondly, he goes on to talk about Nick Castellanos actually putting good ABs together. I think it might have been Corey Simon. I forget who it was. That asked the question of Rob Thompson after the game about being moved down in the order for Nick Castellanos. Trey Turner coming back, Castellanos being able to move back down to sixth, where he's been for the majority of the season. He said, well, Nick was actually having some good at bats in the 2-hole. Like it was almost like correcting the questioner, the reporter. Like, oh no, Nick in the 2-hole. He's been pretty good. He actually had some good swings. Actually had some good ABs. And I'm like, no, he's not. Like sometimes things are just factually wrong. And I'm the type of person, and I've always said this, numbers never lie, but they sure as hell can deceive. These are numbers that are not at all deceiving. Nick Castellanos is a 2-hole hitter, is batting 143 this year with a 189 on base percentage. That's not good. I don't give a damn what your approach is. I don't give a damn what your comfortability, what your swings look like. Though that's terrible. He's not a top of the order hitter. He's not consistent enough to be a top of the order hitter. 6-hole hitter. All right, yeah, it's good. That's good. I'll take it. Either way, with Trey Turner back, he's going to be batting in that 6th spot a lot more often with a lot of consistency. Hopefully, his bat will find that consistency in that spot. That's a good spot for Nick Castellanos in this lineup. The fact that he's got these 6 hits in his last 4 games after his just an abysmal slump, to say the least, is obviously a good sign. And I hope it comes a point, whether it's the pregame work, the extra batting practice, the mentality of always staying calm, or Liam being in the stands from now on. Whatever it is, whatever get Nick Castellanos back to a similar all-star level that we were able to enjoy last year, I'm all for, and I'm rooting for it. I really hope I see it happen. But man, because of his approach at the plate, you don't see these streaks or these hot streaks. You don't see them last very long. So I'd love to see them last, a couple of weeks here. And that was my thing, even after the game 2 days ago where he got 2 doubles. All right, let's keep this going for more than a week, because this whole year you haven't really seen Nick Castellanos for more than a week show you that he's I'm a professional hitter. I can hit more than 200 over a good stretch of time. So I'll go ahead and cross my fingers that this is the time where, that Jew. Not only did Kyle Schwarber play fantastic baseball, and did he turn into the Schwarbarian that we know him to turn into in the month of June, but Nick Castellanos turned his whole season around. I hope that's the story. I hope when we're on Broad Street talking about, this Phillies World Series championship, knock on wood, that we're looking at, that whole thing turned around in June. It wasn't just Kyle Schwarber. It was Nick Castellanos who was hitting 200 going into the month, and then all of a sudden he ended the season hitting 265. Please and thank you. As I referenced earlier, Bryce Harper did address the media afterwards, talked about the fight of the team, talked about how good it is to see those the success of Bryson Stott last night in that 9th inning and the success of Nick Castellanos over the last 2 games and all that. But he was also asked about Willie Mays. Here is the 2-time MVP talking about another 2-time MVP.
Yeah, I mean, one of the greatest players of all time. Sad for the sport, obviously, and condolences to him and his family. I mean, that's going to be a big miss for Major League Baseball, and I had the opportunity to meet him and shake his hand. So what an incredible career he had, overcoming a lot of stuff, and just the impact he had on the game. He's definitely going to be missed.
Yep, I think that speaks for just about everyone. Let me tell you about the great people of the Game Time app. Want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to the comedy show? The Game Time app is where it's at. Phillies are in action today at 1:05. If you want to go down to the game, download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get $20 off your first purchase at the Game Time app. That's right. The Game Time app is where it's at. When it comes to last-minute ticket deals, flash ticket deals, even ticket deals for an hour after the event starts, where you can save big money on the Game Time app. That's where the fun is at. They also have those seat panoramic views that you could enjoy so you know exactly what you're buying. And then how about this? The Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less money elsewhere, the Game Time app will credit your account 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets and download the Game Time app to your phone and use promo code FARZI when you create an account for $20 off your first purchase. It's just that incredible on the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Wednesday morning, where we got a 105. Um, 105 Philly start time with Ranger Suarez on the hill. Let's get into that chat check and see what's going on. Eskin, laugh out loud, enough said. Thank you, WC. Let's start. Here we go. April, what's going on, April? How are you? Ring the bell. Let's go. Hell yeah. Sean Kilrain, what's going on? Twiz, what's popping? Sean Kilrain, I was taking the the poop emoji. Nikki 3 buttons, and lo and behold, a 4-hit night, a 6-hit series already. Sean, look, we have seen walk-offs from Nick Castellanos before. He's got 2 already this season, before last night, now 3. We have seen a week from Nick Castellanos where he's like, oh, this is a guy that could be an all-star, you know? This is a guy that was signed to, 5 years, $100 million. You know, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is the guy we've seen. And then he goes away, and he's frustrating as all hell. April, Liam needs to be at all the games. Hells yeah. Daz, hands down, the funniest you ever. Wait. Oh, the funnest. Okay. Hands down, the funnest year ever to watch these Phillies. Daz? Absolutely. So, look, let me avoid for a second is this an Eagles town or a Phillies town conversation, okay? Because I hate that conversation. The way I always answer that question is, it's whatever team is annoying us the least. It's that town, okay? Whatever team is least pissing us off, it's that town. But here's that baseball just has the ability to do more than any sport. Capture the city, man. Like, I feel like even when the Eagles are good, we'll talk about it all week. And it's fun and it's exciting, but you can't go to the games every day. And this isn't even a comparison because it's 2 totally different sports. Like, of course, football can't do this, but it's still something it can't do. It's something that baseball can do. It's something the Phillies can do. Every single day, you can have an opportunity. You know, for a full week, you could go down to the ballpark and take in a game. Like, that is like the allure of, I could go down tomorrow. I could go down tonight. I could, is just that type of, I don't know. It's, no other sport can provide that like baseball can. And when you have a good there is nothing like a great baseball team in the summer. Yes, seasonally, it obviously plays into it as well. But I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I was having a conversation with my sister-in-law who grew up in Baltimore. And she's like, wow, the Orioles are good again. And I'm like, yeah, I know. They're really, this is before the Phillies and Orioles played. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. In Philly, it's great too. And she goes, do the Phillies and Orioles play? And I go, actually, they do this year. But when you just have a really good baseball team in the summer, nothing captures a city like that. Nothing. And that's what we all get to enjoy. Yeah, you're talking about a Philly season where they're setting all kinds of personal records, franchise records. Oh, yeah, that's fun, man. That's fun. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? CZ, what's popping? Daz, it's Schwarby June. Never fails. Yeah, Daz, or CZ, it's going to be hot. Once the 90-degree weather hits, the Phillies will be hard to beat. Well, it's going to be feel like it's going to feel like 100 degrees, I believe, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I got a wedding to go to on Saturday. I won't be doing postcast on Saturday. Connor Thomas will be doing that. But it's going to be hot. I don't even know. I think I have a cousin that's getting married. I hope it's not outdoors. Give me a nice air-conditioned venue or church. Daz, what's going on? Never understand the people that hate on Schwarby. Love the guy all the way back when he was with the Cubs. I'll tell you how long I've loved Kyle Schwarber. I wanted to trade Cole Hamels for him. When it was the last year of Hamels and everyone knew he was getting dealt, I was like, trade him to the Cubs. Get me Kyle Schwarber. I want Kyle Schwarber playing for my Phillies. At the time, I think Kyle Schwarber was still kind of catching. So when the Phillies signed him, I was like, hell yeah, man. This is great. Finally, get that guy in here. Sean Kilrain. Schwarber served up Wandy Peralta, Farzy. Thank you. Boy, did he. Boy, did he. That ball was tattooed. There we go. Yeah, that ball was tattooed. Chad Crawford, what's going on? Sean Keller, let's see less meatballs served up by Nola, but that's never the case. Yeah, the home runs, obviously, always kill him. And late in that game, that was disturbing, especially because I didn't think that was necessarily a great pitch to hit. I think was it a sinker? I think he tried to surprise him with a sinker, and I think that was the home run. Sinker out over the middle of the plate. So yeah, a bit of a fat one. The knuckle curve to Profar, that's the one that hung up a little bit. That's how Profar got that RBI single. But yeah, the sinker middle of the plate. You could be a guy who's only hit 4 home runs at that point in the season. You could hit that out of the park, and that's exactly what happened. Campusano got his 5th, excuse me. Dads, anyone ever watch the home run derby between Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays? Awesome stuff. Is that the one where they're interviewing them? And well, obviously it's black and white, but they're interviewing them while the other guys at the plate, like the old school home run derby. I did see that on ESPN Classic, if it's the same thing we're talking about here. I love Willie Mays going up to the plate and Mickey Mantle's like sitting down. And I don't remember the broadcaster's name, and I know I should, but the broadcaster's name is, it's the 1950s. So, or maybe it was the 60s at this point. The broadcaster's like talking to Mickey Mantle. Oh, Willie Mays has a hell of a swing, doesn't he? And Mickey Mantle's like, yeah, it's a really good swing. And then, Willie Mays hits a home run. And then Willie Mays sits down. And then he's talking about Mickey Mantle. And it's like the most mundane conversation. You can tell both players comfortable as hell in the batter's box. But the minute they get a microphone in front of them, it's just like, I don't want to say anything that's going to be bad. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's still fantastic. April, how could you not be starstruck around Harry the K? I know, right? The way they used to do the home run derby was so weird. 2 guys would take turns and sit down to do the interviews. Yeah. And AB's Willie spanked, man. I don't even remember who won. I honestly don't even know if I could. I couldn't stick it out through the awkward interviews. Here's what's really interesting about that. So, wow. World Series Baseball 95 for Sega Genesis was like one of my favorite games growing up. And World Series Baseball 95, you had the option of doing the home run derby the old school way or the current, well, not even the current way anymore, but, the more modern way. And I was like, wow. So I played the old school way just to see what it was. And I remember thinking, this is weird. I hate this. And then ESPN Classic started coming out with showing the old home run derbies. I'm like, oh, that's where they got this. And I did watch a couple of them. I do remember the Mays and Mantle one. And just thinking, oh, wow, I get an opportunity to see these guys swing. See, these guys are well before my time, man. And that was cool. But I was like, these interviews are awkward. Those are definitely awkward. Crowley, most people will have a problem because Schwarber's the leadoff hitter. He could have way more RBIs, say, hitting in the 4 spot. Yeah, I agree. The thing that only makes sense to me is that for whatever reason, the Phillies win when he's at the top of the order. And your leadoff hitters, if you look up and down baseball and the stats in terms of who's getting the most plate appearances and at-bats, it's your leadoff hitter. So that's why they want Schwarber to keep going up there. He's most likely to hit a home run. So they want to give him as many opportunities to hit a home run as possible. Sean Kilrain. Mays /345, 411, and 667 with 41 home runs, 110 RBIs. I had a league best 13 triples that season. 54? He was an unstoppable two-way star. Early stages, one of the best careers in baseball history, certainly. Hey, if Harry Callis says you're one of the best ball players or the best ball players he's ever seen, then you're kind of the best ball player most people have ever seen. James Alexander, what's going on? Good morning. I just watched 25-10. Oh, that's LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson's podcast. Yeah, James Alexander. We touched on that a couple of weeks ago. The Chip Kelly comments. That was pretty messed up. Yeah. Crowley, like I said, if we continue to win, what do I care? I'm with you. I'm with you. CZ, he does see more fastballs, but it is funny that anyone would ever throw him a fastball to lead off a game because that's what he's waiting on. Oh no, Twiz. Wentz watch. Oh God. God help us. God help us. Twiz or Daz, I'm sorry. Pitchers come out throwing strikes to the first batter way more. Schwarby, early count swinger. So he's definitely going to get better pitches. Yep. Wentz played one good season. Hurts has a very high winning percentage with the Eagles. He's not franchise tagged. I mean, he's tagged with the moniker of being the franchise quarterback, but he's not franchise tagged. He's signed to a long-term deal. But what's a long-term deal in the NFL? You have outs after 2 years in like all these deals. And the other thing I'll say about Wentz, the only thing that impressed me more than Wentz's second year as a starter, well, second year in the league, was 2 years later, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the Eagles were god-awful towards the end of the season. And then I think in the last 4 or 5 games, with nobody to throw to, like no offensive weapons, he was great. He was great down the stretch. And they made the playoffs, and then he got knocked out by that Jadeveon Clowney hit where Wentz's feet are being wrapped up and he's being taken to the ground, and Clowney comes down and bashes his helmet into the back of Carson Wentz's head while the front of his head is going into the turf. Concussed, done. Last play as an Eagle. Was that the last play as an Eagle? Did he get traded that offseason? Was that the offseason? Might have been the offseason. I think it was that offseason. It seems like a million years ago. Yeah, April did. LaShawn and Deshaun did not hold back on that. Okay, well, I laughed my ass off. Wentz had Jeffrey and Aguilar. Hurts has Brown and Smith. Not that Jeffrey is bad, but Brown and Smith clear. I concur. But yeah, no excuses. Daz, our teams were trash, not just Wentz. I've told you guys before, but this is what I think about when I go back on that Wentz situation. If you're a legit franchise, perennial Pro Bowl MVP candidate quarterback, and if you're having a lot of problems on the team and you're that quarterback, you can't be part of the problem. You have to be part of the solution. And Wentz was a big part of the problem. So that's what I learned about all of that. What's Wentz doing now? Where is he now? Is it Kansas City? I think he signed with Kansas City. Northeast Sports, what's going on? Eagles need to improve their butter defense. They were ranked number 28 in the NFL. In butter? Last year, still better the team than Wentz ever saw. True, Crawley. True. Going to go talent for talent. Yeah, I agree. Saquon should help with what? Hopefully we use him. Run the ball. Yeah, run the ball. Play action. Read option. Receiving. Yeah, you know, all the things that make him a great running back. Maybe do that. Can't say anything bad about Hurts. People get too sensitive. Well, this is a no excuse, as I've said many times. Sean Gillespie, thank you. If you're a good coach, so do less, right? How does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. Only idiots don't play to their strengths. I agree. Way more. A lot of people popping in the chat today. I love it. Oh, dude. Mike Friedel, what's going on, man? You're the man, Farzi. Even meeting you in person showed that you're a genuine Minch. Thank you. Liam at every game for the rest of the year says crazy. Hells yeah, man. We need Liam at every game. April said the same thing. It's football. People are talking about football. Oh, is Hugh throwing out the first pitch today? Oh, that's awesome. I didn't see that. What's up, T-Bro? Predictability. Oh, Scott, I'm glad you brought this up. Man never landed on the moon. Scott, thank you. Thank you. Because I'm telling you, when that ball was flying in the air off Nick Castellanos' bat in the 9th inning, I was like, Neil Armstrong's a fraud. Phillies win. Great googly moogly. Wentz is a chief. That's right, he is. Great uses of googly moogly. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Never know what you're going to get in the chat. You step into the lion's den, I tell you. Hey, let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies, Padres, back at it this afternoon, 105. Rangers, Suarez on the bump for the Phils. He'll go against Matt Waldron. Suarez coming off a 5 and 2/3 inning performance. 6 and 2/3 inning performance against the Baltimore Orioles in the game that the Phillies actually won in 11 innings. He went 6 and 2/3, allowing 1 run on 6 hits, issuing 2 walks. This will be his 3rd start since taking the liner off his hand. Things have looked to only get better for Ranger Suarez since then. So look forward to him keeping that going for himself. As for Matt Waldron, who gets to start for the Padres today, he's 4-6 on the season with a 3.66 ERA. He's coming off a 7-inning, 3-hit, 2 runs, both of them earned performance against the New York Metropolitans. That's how that goes. By the way, did the Mets win last night? They win their 6 in a row. They all of a sudden good, but they did win. I saw it was 6-6 late in the game. How the hell did they win that game? Wow, they were down 6-2. What the hell is going on? Brandon Nimmo hit a home run. Alvarez got an RBI 2-run double in the 8th. Pete Alonso walked. No, it wasn't a walk-off. Top of the 9th inning against the Rangers in Texas. Pete Alonso got an RBI double, scoring Brandon Nimmo. Made it a 7-6 ball game, and the Mets won the game. They're 35-37 on the season. What is going on in the world? But yeah, Phillies and Padres this afternoon, 105. Hey, as depressed as I was, and had a lot of you guys depressed yesterday, we get to stave off that terrible feeling once again. Not that Drew Holiday has the same stink, maybe as or same sting, I should say, as Sergei Bobrovsky, but the Panthers lost. So now the NHL Stanley Cup Finals are going to a Game 6. So at least one more game. At least 3 more periods of will we not regret more already than we do with Bobrovsky going down and being traded? Well, is that Okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Great to have you along for the ride, everybody. Be back with you guys this afternoon for a wonderful edition. Mullet Alvarado. Sorry for my absences, Miss Scoozy. Excellent usage of Miss Scoozy. Thank you. Thanks everybody in the chat. This is the Farzy Show. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. But wait, there's more. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia, the all-new Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, where yours truly brings you your postcasts throughout the year. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe and all that type jazz. See you guys after the 105 start time, where your Philadelphia Phillies look to bust out the brooms against the San Diego Padres. See you guys a little bit later today. Bye.